Hey there. My name is Howard Edgar Bove, and I've been a guest teacher for over 25 years or so, and I've been putting up these video blogs, my observations of what I've seen, being among thousands of students over time, and possibly up to 100 teachers. And these last couple of segments have been under a larger umbrella called Observers of the Sacred, which is how I see teachers should be seen as observers of the sacred. And that sacred dynamic is watching human beings evolve before your eyes. And I've also been saying that sometimes observing the sacred is a much too amorphous um, framework, and so I like to see the teacher as more of a farmer, if you want to do it that way, and students as plants. We've been talking about how farmers don't yell at plants, and we don't get upset about plants not growing and blooming when they shouldn't be blooming, because they're going to bloom when they're going to bloom, and asking, let's say, like I said, a tomato plant to grow pineapples. All right, basically allowing and observing and and supporting the plant to be what it already intrinsically is. Okay, so I'm going to do one more of these right now. I'm talking to myself really because I'm doing three today, and you don't need to know that, or you do. But the other part of this puzzle about being the farmer, if you're a teacher, and not and getting frustrated about your students and frustrated with all these tests and Common Core and can these students meet it and all the rest is that again what we don't want at the end of the day is we don't want a student to walk away after 12 years of education and be angry, be upset, or say, you know what, I can't wait to get out of high school because it was a waste of time and I'm ready to move on. But you don't want to hear things like that. Now, I'm not saying it's systemic. I'm not saying that all high school, middle school, elementary school is a waste of time for all students. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying, though, is having taught for over 25 years or so, I see a fair number of kids in a fair number of classes who are lost, angry, frustrated, and that frustration level exists on both sides of the fence, on the student side of the fence and on the teacher side of the fence. One of the parts of this puzzle of trying to lower this frustration level, again, is seeing yourself as an observer of the sacred and seeing yourself as how a farmer sees plants and trying to support the plant for what it is, not what you want it to be. For example, in a previous video blog, I talked about how kids have to pass the Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry in order to get out of a high school. And at the junior college level, they have to take a math course. Why? What the fuck do they have to take a math course for if they're not into math? Again, the wrong fertilizer will produce very anemic fruit from the plant. Look at the plant for what it is and allow it to grow into the plant that it was meant to be, the student, the person that it's meant to be. It's not dumbing down, but it is looking and seeing who a person is and going to that person and helping support them and fertilize them in what they are. My wife teaches art, and she goes into a classroom and she can immediately determine certain things about students. Obviously, it's generic. Obviously, you need maybe data to back it up. But my point is that we know things, and here's one thing I know, and parents know. It's elementary school right now. It's at the end of the year. So, did I hit my 3 minutes? Let me just take a look. Whoops, I didn't hit my 3 minutes. Uh, well, would you allow me to go on for a little bit longer? All right, I will. And if I bore you, we'll just go away. The other point I want to make is that at the end of the school year, you always hear parents buzzing in the hallways or whatever, talking to other parents, saying, "What do you think of Mr. Edgar Bove? What do you think of Miss Johnson? You think that'd be a good fit for my student? Well, Mr. Edgar Bove is kind of hyper, and and you hear all these. Well, my son, I don't think he needs quiet. He needs someone who's a lot more." So my point is, when you get a teaching credential, a bachelor, in teaching, elementary, single subject, whatever it might be, what you don't see in that credential is what the teacher style is, what they're good at. I'm I'm a talker. I'm a uh, animated individual. I'm not. I'm a lot quieter. I'm a lot more hands-on manipulative. Um, I do a far better when I am uh, drawing or doing visuals for students on the board. And I think that we should be really starting to focus in on credentials that actually create categories of teachers and what their teaching style is. Here's why. Because you're a wonderful teacher, but if you have a majority of students in your class who do not mesh with your teaching style, you can't be as effective. Wouldn't it be something like a gardener and the plants actually matching up gardeners with what they like to grow? For example, some gardeners aren't arborists, some are. Some work in large fields, some do not. Some work on ornamental, some do not. Some work residential, some work commercial. This kind of thing of knowing where you lie in your ability to grow a student into who they, will become based on their natural inclinations and abilities that they've been born with. And so that way, you really have it, to me, it would be that you would be an observer of the sacred and you would note the students in your classroom and you would say, for next year, I recommend as a practitioner that these students should go with Miss Johnson. These students should go with, not because of anything but stylistically, they will connect more, mesh more. And in so doing, they will be matched up with a opportunity to really succeed on a higher level. And on another point, if you find out that student B isn't really working in that classroom, you go over to Miss Johnson and say, listen, it seems to me that actually that student would be much better with you. I mean, at the end of the day, who gives a shit who teaches who? What we want at the end of the day, and after 12 years or so of education, that students come out to be lifelong learners. And whoever helps that to be um, that situation, whoever allows that moment at the end of 12 years to occur, who cares who that person is? And so that's what I feel as well, that we really need to key in more as an observer of the sacred, as a person, as a teacher who's a farmer and helping to grow plants, that we need to literally have teachers put into categories of teaching styles. Because students are out there and they're different, teachers are out there and they're different, and if you can marry the right students with the right teacher, I think you have a greater chance for success. Anyway, I've gone way beyond the 3 minutes. I apologize for that. I thank you for listening. If you have any comments, you can comment at heb@findthefunproductions.com. And remember, always try to find the fun. Be well.